welcome to Impactful Living Podcast.
Where it's all about impacting the masses.
My name is Chrissy, and this is my husband, George. And today's podcast is going to be all about real estate investing, guys.
Yes.
So this has been a topic that so many people has been just asking for because we're coming down to the end of the year. Some people want to get started in real estate investing. You are a beginner. This is the perfect time for you to ask all your questions. And so last night we did a story and we were asking you guys, what do you want to know about real estate investing? And you guys gave us a list of questions. And so today, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be interviewing George.
Put me on the hot seat.
Yes, I am. You guys already know he has a real estate academy that is at georgemcpherson.com for those that are interested in getting some guidance when it comes to real estate investing. But let's go ahead and get into some of these questions that so many people have been asking. And if you guys have personal questions, comment below. Let me know maybe your scenario or something you want to know as a beginner, and I will try to bring it up on the screen and ask those real estate questions to George today. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get started. How you feeling today?
I'm always nervous beside you.
Oh, how sweet is that, right? So let's just jump right into it. So we do have a first question. People want to know, why should you get into real estate?
I mean, real estate is a great thing to put your money in, but it's a way to build wealth, generational wealth. And getting started in real estate or getting into real estate is good as far as tax advantages, right? So there's a lot of different things that you could think about when you're investing in real estate. So some people, they invest in real estate for tax advantages. Some people invest in real estate for appreciation, right? Some people invest in real estate because of cash flow. They want cash flow every single month. They want that passive income. So it's a great way for you to start building wealth, and it's a great way for you to leave a legacy behind by, start building up rental portfolios, that you could pass off to your kids, or you could use it as a retirement for yourself. So you're not relying on a 401k or an IRA, because right now people 401k is it's down. It's down bad. So investing in real estate, you're always going to have that passive income coming in from rentals. You're going to have appreciation. Like right now, there's a lot of people that have a lot of equity in their house if they had bought, right? And then you're talking about tax advantages as well. So there's many different things that you could do, are reasons why you should invest in real estate.
Yeah, I completely agree. A lot of people don't understand the tax benefits that you do get from real estate investing, or just having real estate in your portfolio as a whole.
Yeah, and tax benefits is as simple as, a lot of people feel like, you should go ahead and get a property as an investment property. Your first property could be the one that you're living in, the one that you purchase. And a quick tip is, like, when you purchase that property, like, you could get tax-free advantage out of that, meaning that you live in that house for 2 years, you turn around after year two, you sell that property, whatever gains you make from that, it's completely tax-free. Versus if you buy an investment property and you go ahead and sell it 2 years from now, you have to pay taxes on the gain. But also, there's different strategies where you don't have to pay taxes on that gain if you know the right things to do.
Yes, and that is why you need a mentor to guide you through that process. So let me ask you, what is a good time to invest in real estate?
So I hear this all the time. What's a good time to invest in real estate?
Do you think it is a good time?
it's it's never a bad time to invest in real estate. Okay, I always say it's all about the numbers. Yes, there's decline in in a lot of things that's going on right now. You have, inflation that's going on. A lot of people are on the sidelines right now, really, because they're seeing interest rates going up, but you don't know how high interest rates can go up, right? They're not talking about cutting interest rate. They're still talking about increasing interest rate next year, into next year. So you don't know how high interest rate will be next year. So while you can buy a house right now, why not buy that house? Why not invest in real estate? Because you don't know your situation going to be next year. Next year, there's a forecast that there's going to be a lot more unemployment, right? So imagine this. If you're unemployed next year, you're not going to be in a situation where you can purchase a house and now you put it off for the next 2 years. Because if you're unemployed, that's going to factor as well. Things change. So while you can buy the house right now, buy the house if it makes sense. Okay. If it makes sense. If you can't buy the house, then it's fine. But if it makes sense, I always say, listen, go ahead and do it, because there's no wrong time as long as the numbers make sense for you, right? So that means that if you're doing a flip, flips are supposed to be in and out. There's not supposed to be no long term. You holding on to properties for 6 months. If a rehab is going to take long, you have to pull permits, all that stuff. That's not what I recommend right now, especially for beginner investors. I'm talking about in and out of properties within 2-3 weeks. Quick cosmetic work that you need to be done, right? You get in and out if you're dealing with flips. If you're talking about rental properties, there should be nothing apart from the numbers that you're looking at. Forget the whole point of market crashing, property value going down. Yes, that should be a concern, but as long as you're making cash flow on that property, right? Your cash flow is what matters, because you're looking at long term. You're not looking to flip the property. So there's a cycle. Property values are going to go down, property values are going to go up, right? So as long as you're cash flowing on that property and you purchase the property right, which you have some kind of equity in it, so you could take a little bit of hit, then you're fine.
I completely agree about purchasing that property right. See, a lot of millennials, they're a little bit scared, right? Because we're so used to now that you are at a stage where you have progressed, you got a good job, things are going, and we had interest rates when they're low, but they don't realize that our parents were paying double digits for interest rates back in the day.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing, right? Because if we go and ask people that are way older than us, they're gonna say, "Yo, we used to pay double digits interest rate." So now people get spoiled, right? Because they saw two point something percent, 3%. So they're looking at 7%, and they're saying, "Well, I don't want to pay 7%." But as an investor, 7% was a great rate as far as buying a property, right? Because there's a lot of properties that people can't buy personally in their name, but they have to use business to purchase that property. And a lot of times these rental properties are gonna be 7%, 8%. So now when you're seeing 7%, 8% on the personal side, for some investors, that's not bad. It's just a way of looking at things, right? So it's always looking at numbers. What makes sense for you? Everybody' financial situation is always going to be different.
Absolutely.
So I don't care if you see somebody else purchasing a property and flipping it. They might have more capital than you. They may have more resources than you. So you can't watch somebody else. You have to know what you have as far as budget, what you have as far as access to your resources, and then you go off of that.
Yes, I completely agree. You guys, comment below. Let us know. Are you getting some value from this? I see all of you guys that are here joining in from different platforms. Just let us know what your questions are and I'll ask them. But we do have some more questions here. I know you were talking about, it's no bad time in purchasing, but there was someone that said that, there's a lot of people saying that people are saying there's no good deals out there right now. Do you think that there's still any good deals? Like, do you think you can?
When I hear that, I ask, right? What is a good deal?
What is a good deal?
Right? Because again, everybody pockets are different. So where you want a home run, where somebody might say, well, there's no good deals out there.
Yeah.
And the reason is you have to find out what their criteria are. Because anytime you meet somebody like a wholesaler, the first thing they want to know from an investor is, what are your criteria? What property are you looking for?
Yeah.
What's your budget, right? What area? So the thing is, it all depends on the area they're in, their budget, right? What they're looking for. Some people will do a complete rental.
Yeah.
For me, I'm looking at quick in and out properties. So when they're saying there's no good deals, if they want home runs, then that's why they don't have any good deals going for them, right?
But the home runs can be different, like you said, depending on the person's pocket.
Right. Because a home run to somebody could be, 40, 50 grand. While a home run to somebody else could be, 20, like 100, over 100 grand, right? Everybody budget is different. Everybody pocket is different. So one person might say, listen, I will take a 10% profit on a deal, versus some people, they'll say, yo, I'm not taking nothing less than a 25% profit on a deal. So I'm not doing it, right? Because some people will leave room. Some people want the room for any mistakes that may happen, which most definitely you should leave room. But the thing is, for some people, they have the capital, they have the cash, and they have employees. So those employees need to work. So they, no matter what, they might make 10% on this deal,
Mhm.
but they make 30% on the next deal. They make, say for instance, 15% on the next deal, but they have their employees consistently working, right? Those are the bigger people, the bigger
Companies.
companies. So it all depends. When you're saying there's no good deals out there, drive around neighborhoods and see if you're still seeing rehabs going on. If you're still seeing rehabs going on, then there's a deal out there and somebody just got it.
I think a lot of the beginners are saying there's no good deals because they're hearing that from other people out there, right? They're hearing that from maybe the other investors that are, who just got in the game and they're used to the little 2% and 3%. But some of the people that's been in the game a long time is like, yo, there's still good deals.
There's still good deals, and
They
the
know
thing
how
is,
to find the deals though, and some of the new ones probably just don't know how to be resourceful.
so my thing is this, right? And I'm only talking about flip. There's different strategies you could use when it comes to you investing in real estate, right? So when somebody's saying there's no good deals, why is there no good deals? What are you looking for? Are you looking for something that, are you looking for rentals? If you're looking for rentals, maybe don't approach it as you buying a property or looking to purchase a property, but more look at it as you're looking for a owner that wants to get out of the property because they're having difficulty. So now, would they owner finance that to you? Would they do a seller finance? Could you pick up properties that are subject to? So now you're not worrying about interest rate, because that's why a lot of y'all sitting on the sidelines because of interest rate. Y'all used to cheap money. Now money's getting expensive, so they don't want to do that. But if you do seller finance or a subject to, now you could pick up that property and you have that same low interest rate and you just pick up their payments that they're paying as long as it makes sense in your cash flow and you're good.
Yeah, you're right. Let's see what the next question is that came in. Do you need a lot of money or good credit to get started in real estate investing?
Absolutely not. I feel
hear this all the time. This is like the most common question that comes across my desk.
like people think that they need good credit or they need a lot of money to get started, right? And that's definitely not the case. And there's different strategies that you could use. So if you're talking about you going to buy a rental, the first thing that you're thinking about is, yes, you need 20% down when you're buying a rental property if you're doing certain strategies. But if you're talking about wholesaling, right? Wholesaling, you don't need a lot of money and you definitely don't need credit, right? Because what you're doing is you're that middle person. So you find a motivated seller, and that motivated seller is willing to sell their property at a decent deal, right? So you have meat on that bone, right? You have meat on that bone. So if that house is worth 200,000 and they're willing to sell it to you for 130 because they know that the house needs a new roof, they know that the kitchen is outdated, they know that the bathroom needs a little bit of work, they know that there's problem in it, so they're willing to do that because they know that they don't have the money. The seller don't have the money, so they're motivated to sell that house.
You're going to see a lot more motivated sellers, I feel like, because look at all the mass layoffs that's happening already. People are already getting, from Facebook to all these different companies, especially the tech industry. People that are in the tech industry are getting hit the hardest right now.
Right. So when you have that motivated seller, all you have to do is just go in, talk to them, get that deal, and now you could flip it to an investor, right? Don't think that you need that home run. For a lot of people, it's just sending out mailers. It's just driving down the street or in another neighborhood. You see a distressed property, you go ahead, you contact that person, and then they're willing to sell their house. Now all you have to do is find an investor, a buyer that was willing to purchase the property. So if you get that property for 130, like I said, and then you flip it to that investor for 140, you just make a quick 10 grand, not doing nothing. You didn't need perfect credit, no damn credit at all, and you didn't need money. You probably spend money driving around and gas and stuff. You probably spend money, more of it is going to be your time. Now, the more money you put into your business, of course, the more money you could make, right? In marketing and all that stuff. And that's how you're going to scale, right? But as far as needing a lot of money, you don't need a lot of money.
So I hear you always talk and you always tell people you need to learn how to pivot. You need to learn all aspect of real estate. Do you feel like right now is the best time?
It's a perfect time, because while you see, the thing is this, right? And this is the same thing that happened in 2008 when the market crashed, like that cycle where market crash and go down, right? This is the same kind of feeling that everybody's having, right? You hear the talk of, yo, I'm gonna wait till a lot of foreclosures start happening. I'm gonna wait till the housing market tank. But at what point you're gonna purchase? Because if the housing market tank, them big boys are waiting just like you, and they have the capital, right? So while right now you got a job, while right now you got funding that you could get, right? Then is the time where when is the time that you're gonna take action on it if the numbers make sense for you? Because you have the access now. A year from now, if the market tanks, right, you might not have access to that money. The bank might take away, instead of 50 grand you have, they might have you at 20 grand, right? Now you have a job. Next year, you might not have a job. So there's different things that people are looking at and say, yo, I'm going to sit on the sidelines and wait. But if you see a deal that makes sense for you financially, then I say go and take that deal.
And I do like the fact that you're teaching them all aspects of real estate, because the ones that are wholesalers right now, they could turn around and become the actual investor to, rehab, fix, and do all of that stuff. Or the ones, or vice versa. So you can't just learn one aspect of real estate. You got to learn all aspects in this market.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't like, see, wholesalers are investors. I don't like when somebody come in and they say, oh, I'm a wholesaler, right? I get it, but yo, you always have to think of it as you're an investor, because you don't want to stay in that bracket. Because what you're doing is, if you think about it, you're still working for somebody else. You're working, you're slaving around, but you're not having passive income. There's no passive income in wholesaling, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're finding deals and you're flipping the deals, and you can make a lot of money. You can make a lot of money doing wholesaling. But at some point, those successful wholesalers have developed into an investor. So your long-term goal is always to be an investor, because the simple fact that now when you get those properties and you say, man, I got this property for cheap, I only made 5 or 10 grand on it, but the investor I sold it off to, he just flipped it and made 50 grand. So you're going to start thinking, yo, you know what? I got to get my game up. I got to make sure that, yo, I got the capital. So when you're flipping these houses, you're making 5, 10 grand on them. Maybe you put away some of it and now you start saving. So, or you start partnering up with investors, right? Or you start getting extra funding, private funding. So now you could go ahead and learn the game. And now you're doing the flips. When you find those properties, you're doing them. That's what I teach everyone. Not to be just a wholesaler and you just consistently just giving off the deals and let somebody else eat, right? And that's nothing wrong with that. But my thing is, yo, develop something to where you can find the deals yourself. You can determine whether you want to cherry pick that deal or not, right? You cherry pick your deals. If you want to wholesale it off because there's too much work, you don't want to deal with it, permits, all that stuff, it's a bigger job than you're willing to take off, forget it. I'll hand it off to an investor. If it's something that needs cosmetic work, I'm on that. Yo, I can deal with this. It only takes 5 grand to fix up. I can probably do this. I'll fix it up, and this look like a good rental for me. So I'll take this on as a rental, and later on I'll decide if I want to flip it or not.
Yeah, I just feel like the wholesalers have an advantage because they know the ins and outs. They know how to find those deals.
Right. They know how to find the deals.
That's
and
what they
some investors, yeah, because some investors, like I get to the point where like some investors, they don't want to do anything with finding deals. They don't want to do nothing with finding deals. They have so much people out there that people will bring them deals.
Because they have the money.
Because they have the money and they have the funding. But for some investors, we like to find deals and then we cherry pick from those deals. So if we have a deal, if I find a deal and I don't like it, as far as the profit margins on it, I could just call up somebody else that I know that's willing, right, to go ahead and take 10% profit and just hand it off to somebody.
Yeah.
Because again, you have investors that need to consistently have properties going, have projects going, because they have a big team, big employers. And if they don't feed those employers, if they don't feed their people, those people are going to go somewhere else, and it's going to be hard for them to bring them back in.
Yeah, I agree. I'm seeing a lot more developments that are just having just nothing but rentals. They're not even selling these properties. It's just straight rentals in the communities. Do you think that a person should continue to rent, or that they should just go ahead and get their own?
Yo, I've been screaming from the mountaintops to everybody to purchase a house when the interest rate was 2 point something percent, right? And this is a thing because now people are seeing interest rates so high and they're saying, yo, you know what? I'm going to continue to rent. But in that time, you have to think about it. How many times have they raised your rent? In the last 2 years, I guarantee you, whoever is watching this right now, your rent has been raised twice
Yep.
already. And it's going to be raised again when your lease is up, right? They're going to constantly raise the rates right now. And some of them, they're ridiculous
They're
with
rape
increasing.
renting.
Yo, it's like they're telling yo, bend over, oil up, right? That's what they're telling people now because yo, it's not even like a 3% increase on rent or 5% increase on rent, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. In certain markets, it's just absolutely crazy. The rental, like, think about how much you're paying for rent. If you're paying 2 grand for rent, what can you go buy for 2 grand, right? What can you go buy for 2 grand that you could actually say, yo, you know what? That's mine. I'm building some kind of equity. And even if the market crash, even if the market crash, I still live in that property. If the value goes down and I want to move in a bigger space, I could go ahead, move out of that and rent it to somebody else.
Correct.
I can Airbnb that property off. I can VBRO that property off. I could use it for a content space. I could use it for anything, but you could use that as prop money coming in still. You can't think of, oh, the market is going to crash, so the house is not going to worth the same amount. You have to think about long term. So when somebody's saying, yo, should I rent or should I buy? If you're in the position to buy, right? Purchase that property. A lot of people right now, they have what do you call it? Roommates, right? And it's like if you have a roommate,
listen carefully, guys, because a lot of people are in this position.
If you have a roommate right now, right, and you can purchase a house, why not go purchase that house, a condo, a townhouse, right? So now you purchase a condo or a townhouse, you have that same roommate move in and pay your mortgage for you. Why not do that? Like that's house hacking, right? That's called house hacking. That's a strategy that I love. That's a strategy that I always tell, especially new investors, to look into because with house hacking, you're actually putting down less. You have an opportunity to put down 0% on your mortgage, zero down payment with some loans, right? You could go use USDA as far as it dependent, and you get 0%. You have NACA program, 0% down. You have now FHA, 3.5%. You're not putting down 20% on an investment property.
And there's that new loan that we just found the other day, which was 1%, and it's only in particular areas like Atlanta and certain areas that you can get that. I mean, that's crazy.
Right, but there's different things. So instead of you going out, think about it. You going to go to an apartment complex, right? It's 2 grand for an apartment, right? You have to put down deposit. Now, if you're renting a house, it could be different. But with an apartment, they normally would want a deposit. They want first month rent. Some people, if you're renting a house, they want first month, last month, and deposit. So if you think about it, their deposit is normally the same amount or half of it. You can't get outrageous now, right? So in some states, they won't let you get outrageous with it. But in the same sense, you go put down, say your deposit is 1,000. You have to put up first month and last month. That's 5 grand that you just put down. If you go ahead and put that money, say for instance in savings, you look to get qualified for a 0% down on a loan,
or something
right?
small,
or
whatever.
something small, you still have money in reserve, right? Yeah, you already start with money in reserve. Then you have your roommates come in and then helping you. If you have family members that live in the area, now you could take that property and say, yo, you know what? I'll rent it out on the weekends because my mom and dad live down the street or not too far.
Airbnb.
So I'll go ahead and Airbnb it out on the weekends. There's a lot of things you could do. You could even buy houses with, you could buy duplex. Duplex are great to buy, especially if you want your own private space. You could go buy a duplex, a triplex. You could buy a house with an apartment, with a basement. And then what you do, you just rent the basement out and you still have your own private space. But it's always a way that you could go ahead and get started. And the only thing that's stopping you most of the time is yourself or somebody else talking you out of it because they're saying there's not enough good deal. They're saying that they're waiting. They're saying that the market is going to crash. But we're not we're not what do you call it? We're not prophets. We can't tell the future. What we could look at and say, yo, at the end of the day, this is what most likely will happen. But how are you positioning yourself? Because remember, rents are still going to be going up.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, if you can't afford your rent and now you get kicked out, what's going to happen? They're going to evict you. 30 days, you're getting evicted. At least if you purchase a house and live in that house, you could fight that shit and still live in your house for a year while you're fighting foreclosure.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Period.
You know, sometimes when you look back in life and, you know, when you were younger, you didn't realize some of our parents actually did this and our grandparents did. And I know firsthand, you know, my family came over from the islands and I remember my great grandmother, she had, we used to live in Brooklyn. She had 3 levels. Every level was a different family member at that time. And everybody used to pay rent to Granny every month just to live in there. So Granny was house hacking and she was taking her money and she was doing her businesses and she was doing other things and she was growing. And at that particular time, I believe she spent like less than, let's say, I can't even remember. She spent very little. I don't even remember, but we sold the property way back in the day for about 200 and something $1,000. That property now is worth over $1 million now.
Yeah. The thing that blows my mind is like, yo, for my son, if my son says that he's gonna go off to college, I already have it planned where, yo, you're not renting nothing.
Nothing.
You ain't renting nothing. I'm looking for a condo and or a townhouse, a 2-bedroom condo or a townhouse, and you're gonna house hack, right? Because the simple fact that, yo, when he goes there, there's dorm rooms everywhere.
Yeah.
So at that point, why am I gonna go pay for a damn dorm room when I could go buy a condo, let him live in it, and advertise so somebody else, instead of going to the dorm room, they come live there with him, and now he's not paying as much, and at the same time, that could be his graduation gift. Like there's different things, especially if you're a parent, you got kids that are about to go off to college. You have to strategize. You have to be thinking about the future. Yo, how am I gonna set up myself for my set up my kids for the future? And that could be, instead of thinking, oh, you know what, I'm gonna send him off and let him get a dorm room. Why would you do that instead of just buy something that's close to the area, close to the school, couple miles away, and then they have that as a graduation gift after they graduate.
I love that. I love that. And I don't think a lot of parents realize that they could have done that. You know, I think a lot of parents sit down with regrets like, man, I should have done that.
Yeah.
Because now when my kids finished 4 years of school, you know what? They have this whole place for themselves. You gave them a start.
And not even, because say for instance they want to move.
Oh, then they'll just rent it out.
Yo, think about it. Yo, you want to move? All right, cool. I got you. Let's sell this condo. Think about it. If somebody right now had a kid that's graduating from school right now and they bought a condo 4 years ago, they guaranteed to have at least 50 grand in that condo. So what that means for them, instead of saying, here son, or here daughter, let me go ahead and hand this as a gift to you, you could say, yo, I'm gonna give you a start that I never got before.
Yep.
Which is, yo, I'm gonna sell this condo and this is gonna be yours. This is 50 grand for you to go start your business. This is 50 grand for you to say, yo, you know what? You have certain things that you don't have to stress about. Here's 50 grand that you had in student loan. Now we could pay off some of that student loan or pay off all your student loan. And you don't have to worry like me, in student loan debt, right? Those are things that you have to think about as far as for your kids, how we're going to set them up different. Right.
Yeah, great. Somebody, we do have a comment. It says, true, there are some properties I wish I got back in 2010 and 2016, but my family talked me out of it. I am so mad I didn't get them.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right?
We cannot allow people to stop us.
A lot of times, this is what I'm gonna say right now. A lot of times when I talk to people that want to get started in real estate, when they call me up and say, yo, I want to get started, the thing that stopped them the most is family.
Yep.
Family and close friends. Because the family and close friends, they never did it.
Mm-hmm.
So why should you do it?
Yep.
Right? And some of them, they're not saying, yo, they're not being envious. It's like, because they don't know how to invest, they're scared of you going to invest. Right? Some of them just period don't want to see you thriving and become better. But the thing is, you can't let people talk you out of your dreams.
Yeah.
You can't let people talk you out of your future. It's your future. God gave it to you. God gave you a mind for yourself. Didn't give your mom and your dad the opportunity to think for you. At some point when you become an adult, that changes. When you're a child, then yes, your mom and dad have to make decisions for you. When you're an adult, why are you making your parents still make life altering decisions that could affect you and your kids' future?
Because of fear, right? I think a lot of it is fear. So family and friends will be like, no, don't do that because they don't, like he said, they don't know how to, but you're so afraid it's your first
Yo,
time. And that fear outweighs everything, it blinds them.
I'm gonna give you guys a perfect example. Back in 2000 and like 15ish, back in 2015, right? We looked at a property. The property was $75,000,
Oh,
right?
tell this story that I
Property was
wanted to get.
$75,000. We wanted the property. She wanted it bad, right? Because
I already had a tenant
we
for it.
already had a tenant. We already cash flowing on that property. When we did our numbers, we're cash flowing about $400 or $500 on that property. Set to go. Person was ready to move in. The damn realtor looked at us, right? The realtor looked at us and say, I don't think this is a good deal for you guys. And talked us out of it,
No,
right?
talk him out of it. Let's correct
right?
that.
It give me an influence, right? But now that same property is worth over $250,000.
Yep.
That same property. So imagine that. That damn realtor cost me $150,000 minimum.
You have to make your own decision.
$175,000.
Make your own decision, guys. We don't let I don't care if it's the realtor. Yes, they're there to guide us in certain things, but not even them sometimes have your best interests.
So, and to us at that time, we felt like she's having our best interest, right? But was she investing the way that we wanted to invest?
Have your own plan.
What did she have the same plan as us? At the time we were like 23 or in our early 20s. This lady was in her 50s or 60s. Different process, different way of thinking. So you can't let somebody, right, make decisions for you that's not thinking on the same level as you. They already fucked up or they already made the decision not to invest at that age. You're deciding to do something. If you mess up, you learn. That's the part about life. That's the great part about life. Yep. I've made mistakes in real estate investing, right? But the thing is, every successful person, everybody that's successful out there, they fuck up somewhere along the line. They mess up somewhere along the line where they had to learn from their mistakes so that they can become better. But if you're just sitting there and say, yo, I am scared, I don't want to jump in, I'm afraid to jump in, then 2010 is going to happen again, 2016, and then 2000, what we're in 22 is going to happen again
in the future.
And then you're gonna look back and say, man, I missed the boat 3 times. So what? The 4th time you think you're gonna jump in, then the 4th time that this might happen is when you say, man, I should have done it 3 times ago. And then the same cycle is repeating itself. And then you might end up being the person that's talking out the next person of doing something.
Yep. I do hear that a lot from a lot of people that are older than us, maybe middle age, that they've missed it a couple of times. How many times does it take? How many times? But sometimes I think it's just talk, just to be relevant. Like, we're about taking action.
Yeah. In real estate, it's all about speed. So it gotta be speed. You gotta make a decision quick. You gotta make that decision fast because there's somebody else out there. There's different properties that you could invest in. If you don't have a lot of money to go buy a $200,000 house, then calm yourself down and invest in the cheaper areas, right? Just know that you're dealing with a different type of tenant, but at the same time, there's good tenants that are renting $50,000 homes, right? There's real good people that they can't live in a $200,000 house because they don't have the money to live in there. But you know what? Any house that they get to live in, they appreciate that they have somewhere to live, so they'll take care of your property. A lot of times people say, yo, I don't want to deal with those type of people. Well, at some point in life, your family, one of your family down the road was probably in that situation, and somebody helped them and gave them the opportunity to then they have the opportunity to level up. And because they level up, the thought process, the thinking process of your family change. So at what level you're at right now, and at what level you're going to make sure that your family legacy change, the thought process of your family level change. So now it's all about investing, taking opportunities when you see them.
Exactly. Taking action, guys. Amen. That's what they that's what came across just now. So let me ask, how long does it take to gain success in real estate? This person is a beginner, they have no experience. How long does it take for someone to gain some success?
See, the crazy thing is we live in a microwave society,
That's very true.
right? So everybody wants to gain success fast, right? And you will have those testaments where testimonials that somebody come into the game and they get it done. They get a property within a week, and they were able to flip that property on a wholesale deal, right? And they get that, what you call beginner's luck,
Beginner's luck.
right? And then because it don't work out the next 7 months or the next year from now, then they quit. Why? Because they think that the process was gonna be easy. So because they found out how hard it was, then they say, "Yo, let me go ahead and quit." The thing is this: you have to look at it. How old are you right now?
Oh, you put me on the spot.
Oh shit! Sorry. That's
It's
where
okay. I'm in my 30s.
All right, she's in her 30s. That's a good answer, right? That's a
you don't
great
ask
answer.
a woman her
Sorry,
age.
yo, you gotta edit that or something because you never
I'm
do
in my
that.
30s.
You never do that, right? All right, so she's in her 30s, right?
Yes.
But the thing is this: how long did it take you to get to your 30s?
A long time. 30 something.
A long time,
yes.
right? And within that time, did you learn anything along the
Oh
way?
my gosh, I'm learning every day, guys. I make mistakes constantly.
So when you was 1 year old, right? Did you have the same things that you have now?
Of
Is
course
your thought
not.
process the same?
I was young. I didn't have nothing.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
So,
but experiences and life and certain things change you.
So somebody come in at day one and they want to be where somebody is
from who are 30 years in the game.
20 years in the game, right?
Yes.
Now, not saying that there's nothing wrong with that, but the people that get to success fast are the people that are hungry. The people that are out there asking questions, they're getting mentors, right? They're going to meetings, they're making sure they're networking with people. Those are the people that are going to thrive in real estate investing.
Yeah.
Those are the people that they show that they're hungry. The people that come in because they see an advertisement or something, they see somebody get a check and they say, "Man, I want to get that check as well." Mm-hmm. If he could do it, I can do it. But it's easy. He said it was easy. Let me go out and do this, right? And you just go out because he said he drive and find a house. You go out and drive and you actually found an opportunity, but you fucked it up because you didn't know what to say. You don't know the process, and you and then the seller end up not selling you, giving you an opportunity and slam the door in your damn face. But if you took the time to learn certain things, get a mentor, learn the process, and know how to handle certain things, or you find an investor that wants properties and you say, "Hey, let me team up with them. Let me go out, drive for dollars, and find a property. I'll send a property to them. If they close on the deal, then I make some kind of money." Then that's how it works. And once you develop relationships, once you start networking with people, once you start develop that skill, then you become successful. This is not no overnight shit. It takes time. I'm still learning every single day, right? And I'm glad that I'm learning every single day because I still can make mistakes every single day. The thing is, you have to know how to limit those mistakes. So you prepare, right? You can prepare all you want, but sometimes no matter how you prepare, something can happen.
I agree. But the market is constantly changing. Things are changing. Technology is changing. Technology came in and changed the game. It made things a lot easier where people have different ways of sending out notifications or getting on certain calls. Like there's so much that has changed the game in real estate, and you have to keep up with that time. So when he says he's constantly learning, it's because there's always something new coming into the game. And if you sit back and you in your old ways, you're going to get stuck. You got to keep up with technology. It's just like when the old people, when computers came into the game. Oh, I don't want to deal with the computer. Now, either do or die. it is, it's part of our life, right? So you constantly have to develop when technology develops to for your craft and whatever you're doing.
And the thing is this, right? Some people are old school,
Oh yeah.
and old school still work in real estate because some people they need relationships, while some people like the younger generation they'll focus on you could do email blast or text message blast, and that will work for younger people. But some people you actually have to sit down and have a conversation with them and find out what their pain point is. When you're doing, poster blast and all that stuff, you don't know the problems that they're going through, and you're not the only one that's sending out damn mails out. You're not the only one. I'm gonna tell you right now, you are not the only one that's sending out mailers, right? But you either catch them at the right time when they're going through certain situations, or it's just that they're ready to have that conversation. Versus if you do old school, like a lot of like some old school people, they do driving for dollars, or they go around and knock on doors. When they knock on door, they can have that conversation. They can see the property. You're not seeing the property, they're seeing the property. So at that point, they could say, all right, something is going on with this house. Let me find out. Let me go knock on the door. Hey, you know what? Something just happened. I just lost my job. This happened to my mom out of state, and I'm looking to move because, my mom, I got to go and take care of my mom. All kind of stuff that can happen. So now you know what's going on. Now you could have that one-on-one talk, and you could get that property from that person or help them in that situation. But don't believe that, what works for one person may not work for you. Okay.
Yep.
So some people, they're good with doing the blast of letters and stuff like that, because when you do letters, there's a 1% chance of you hearing back, getting back something, a 1 to 3% chance. Versus if you go knock on somebody's door, there's more than a 50% chance. As long as you know how to door knock, you see somebody, you see a car in the driveway, you know somebody's home. You see certain things out, you know somebody's home. If they're not home, you go back in the evening, right? So there's certain things, people are old school and they still get it done. So there's different strategies when it comes to real estate. You finding deals, you just got to know how to find them.
Yep. Julia said great advice. So she's loving that. I do have another one for you. And I think this is important because, a lot of people are so, hungry, want to get into it. But let me ask you, for the audience, what would you have done differently if you could start over again? Guys, think that's a good question? If he can start over again, what
Man,
would you do differently
shit.
to get to your success either faster or, maybe not make those same mistakes? Like, what would you do?
One, get a mentor faster, right? Get a mentor faster. I had mentors that was guiding me through the process, but having like a mentor
Right away.
right away in the process, right? So I wouldn't make certain mistakes that I did. I wouldn't lose out on certain opportunities like I did, right? And then also it's setting up my team faster, having a virtual assistant. And if I had a virtual assistant, it's like things wouldn't be as hectic on me because I was a one man show. I was trying to do everything. And you guys already know my wife deal with a chronic health situation. So when something happens to her, everything falls on me. So if I'm running multiple stuff at a time, I have to take a ease back. So something happened, I have to give up something. And that thing could be, me going out trying to find deals. At one point I was on it, and then when something happened to her, then everything stops, right? Because I pay full attention to my wife when she needs me, right? That comes first. So at the end of the day, like if she's not here, I wouldn't function properly, right? So at the end of the day, I have to take care of that first. And because because I didn't have that assistant, then that kind of hurt. Versus if I had an assistant, they could have been doing all the deals, right? I coach them to do the deals, all that stuff. I have a system in place to build my team faster. So now I could let that run by itself.
I completely agree. So basically, you would hire a virtual assistant, hire your staff faster, just because if mistakes happen, life happens, your family gets sick, anything, it doesn't stop. your business. You still have money going. You still have opportunities coming to you. So that's the one thing you said you would change. And
Mentorship.
And then having mentorship faster, guys. I mean, I think this was some really great advice. Did you guys have any other questions that you would like me to ask George before we end out today? Because when it comes to real estate investing, guys, there is no perfect time, but the time that you're in right now to jump. And again, I just love when you were just telling people to take action and the numbers need to make sense. And I think having that mentor there, because I know with some of your students, you kind of guide them. They're like, hey, I got this deal. Is this a good deal for me to take as my first flip or my first rental? And you will analyze the deal with them. And I love seeing that because you save some people thousands of dollars. Thousands of dollars. Hey, take this approach, do this, don't do this. And having that person that you can actually physically talk to, because there's so many people out there. You can take whatever real estate course, but do you have access to touch that person? Do you have access to ask those questions? I think we're in a time and age where we don't just need, oh, here's this, watch it. We need some kind of interaction. We need to know, George, is this a good deal? Do you think this is good for me? You know, this is what my situation, this is how much money I have. Should I jump into this? Because sometimes is that fair, right? You keep looking at the deals, you keep watching it, and you're letting them pass by because you haven't taken that first step. Sometimes you need that person to push you off the cliff.
Sometimes they just don't know what the next step is.
Yeah.
I've had students where they find a deal and they'd be like, okay, oh my God, I'm excited. What do I do next?
You freeze.
So you have to walk them through the process, right? Even though the process is there and it's laid out, but sometimes people get so excited that they mess up. Sometimes they hit a brick wall, and you being the mentor, you help them to guide them and show them a different way of doing things. Instead of approaching it and going here, let's go ahead and do this instead. So mentorship, that's why I say mentorship is very important, because now when you're thinking about a microwave society and you're looking at somebody that's 20 years in the game and they're doing good, and you want to come in and do good in day one, the only way for you to get to where the person is that's 20 years deep is to get with that person that's 20 years deep and find out what they did, right? So you're getting mentorship from somebody that has experience in the game, and now you're skipping the line, right? Now you could get there faster. You can't get there faster without mentorship. You can't get there faster without investing some time, some energy on building your education and getting better in what you're doing.
Yeah. You guys, that's it for Impactful Living Podcast. This was such a great interview. If you guys want some more information from George, check out his bio or visit his website at georgemcpherson.com. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Impactful Living Podcast,
where it's all about impacting the masses.
Your eyes tell me that you don't want to leave just yet. No, my eyes agree. It's almost like when we first met. Oh, I don't care, it's getting too late. I want you and I can't wait. Don't want to spend a minute without you. I know you feel the same. So come on, give me love.